Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Okay, it's 6 p.m. Ciao ragazzi, hello everybody. My name is Stevie Kim, and this is the Italian Wine Club on Clubhouse. Today's Thursday, and we've started a new slot, 6 p.m., as you've seen with the Ambassador's Corner, because things were getting dark out there and people were patient as much. So we've decided to move to the 6 p.m. We'll see how that goes. Today, at the time of this call, it is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'd be remiss not to thank the dedicated team, including the mod squad of ambassadors, like Andrei today, Laika, the Clubhouse manager, Joy, our Italian wine producer, blah, 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 blah. We've grown by leaps and bounds. I was just looking at the stats today, the past couple of months. I might surprise you with some figures next time. And this room has contributed a great deal. So thank you to all those who have participated as a speaker and listeners as well. By the way, we got our Insta back. Thank you all for reporting to Instagram. We did get our account back. So thank you so much, everyone, for helping us and supporting us with that. Today's call is already our 19th installment of the Ambassador's Corner series on Clubhouse. You know the drill by now. This room will be recorded and may be replayed on the Italian Wine Podcast. We're getting a lot of traction. A lot of the Ambassador Corner series are in fact the popular pods. So got my roadcaster today. I'm still at the office, drinking my Vernaccia, the Oristano. The quality of the recording should be decent today, as I love to share today's call with many listeners as possible. And for all the listeners out there from both here at Clubhouse and Italian Wine Podcasts, as usual, I would like to, I've got a small ask. You must know that what we do here at Italian Wine Podcasts is absolutely a labor of love for me, Joy, Laika, and the entire gang, including the Italian Wine Ambassadors. So if you can give a thumbs up to the Italian Wine Podcast and rate our podcast wherever you get your pods, we'd really appreciate that. And if you'd like to make a small donation, we would really appreciate that as well. Now on to the show. So today, Andrei, ciao Andrei.
Buonasera.
Ciao, buonasera.
Ciao.
Come stai?
Tutto bene. Everything is great.
Yeah, so Andrea will be the co-moderator today. How do you say your name? Batkilins? Andrejs Batkilins? Sometimes you call yourself Andrea. You get me all confused.
It's because it's Russian name is Andrei, but I'm living in Latvia. So in Latvia, we already add S. So my surname is Batkilin, but by Latvian, and because my passport is Latvian, Batkilins. So Andrei Batkilins or Andrejs Batkilins, or Italian friends told me Andrea, so it's up to you.
Yeah, so Andreas is a wine writer and owner and scholar of Prosecco Lambrusco Wine Club in Latvia, actually, which is, of course, very popular. In 2018, he obtained the WSET Level II, and immediately he became an Italian wine scholar. And most importantly, I have to say, he is now a bona fide Italian wine ambassador for Vinitaly International Academy with the flagship. He's been although he's very, it's been very short that we've met Andrejs. He's been a very active member of the community, and you're giving actually Slavic run for his money in terms of listens for the Italian Wine Podcast. So we'll talk about that another time. So as you know, Andrei, I always ask why you've selected Tenuta di Capezzana. I know we have two guests today. I see Beatrice and also Pierpaolo and Filippo. Three guests, actually. Why did you choose Tenuta di Capezzana as your favorite producer?
Oh, first of all, Stevie, because I like their wines. And
Good
then,
start. Good answer.
yes. And then I must say that we know each other from a long time. And of course, many times I have been their guest. I also was several times a guest of Filippo, who was very welcoming from our first meeting to invite me to his family lunch together with his niece Serena and older brother Giovanni. And during this lunch, we tasted many of the wines of new vintages, but also some old vintages like Villa Capezzana 1989 that we tasted the last time, December 2019, right before the start of this pandemic.
Oh my goodness. Why didn't you call me, Andrei?
I don't know.
You forgot to call me.
It
Okay.
always was like an accident.
Right.
And yes, by the way, Tenuta Capezzana was the first state I visited last June, right after I became the Italian wine ambassador. So with Pierpaolo, we made a really big trip with the old land rover among the vineyards.
Okay.
But the more important thing, the reason of my choice is to talk again and again about the wine region of Carmignano itself. Since we are talking about one of the the oldest wine production place in Tuscany or in Italy from Etruscan time. And it's very important historic zone which is still in the shadow because maybe it's because it's small. It's really small. Maybe it's smallest appellation of Tuscany if we are talking about DOCG. And because we are talking about one of the 4 Tuscan wine zones that was included in its historical edict called Bando, approved by Grand Duke of Tuscany Cosimo III de' Medici in 1716, that making it first officially delimited and protected appellation in the world.
Oh my goodness.
So already in 18th century, together with Chianti, Pomino, and Valdardo di Sopra, Carmignano was named as a Tuscan zone of superior wine quality.
Excellent.
That's the reason.
Yes, that sounds good to me. I can understand. Andrei, so what are the learning objectives? You know that I'm obsessed about learning objectives, right? What are the learning objectives that we should expect from your call today with the Tenuta di Capezzana?
Okay, we should find out why this zone was named among the best in Tuscany from the 18th century. This is the first subject. And the second, why the wine, especially speaking about the Capezzana estate flagship wine, Villa Capezzana, why this wine has such a huge aging potential, because till now in the cellar there is bottles from 1925, 1931 that are still alive and in great condition. And Jensen Robinson could say that it's true, according to her taste.
Okay, great. Alrighty, so then I'm going to give you the floor, give you the mic, and you can take this away. I just wanted to say hello also to Beatrice. I haven't seen her in a while. Ciao, Beatrice.
Ciao, Stevie. How are you?
Andrew, I'm going to leave it up to you, and I'm just going to grab my drink. I'll just be here, but I'll be silent. Okay?
Okay.
Take it away.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce my guests. It's Filippo and Beatrice Contini Bonacossi. They are the 4th generation of Contini Bonacossi big family that managing this family company together with fifth generation, and I suppose the sixth generation on the way. Let's start from the beginning. And my first question, could you make an introduction of your land, its history, the main historic dates and events? And first of all, where is Carmignano?
Capezzana has a very, very old history. Actually, the name Capezzana come from Capitus. There was a soldiers, a veterans at the time of Caesar. And our sister Sandra, she found a very interesting document in the archive in Florence, which is a document, it's a parchment written in Latin, and it's where they describe Capezzana, the same kind of farm is today with wine production and olive oil production. So we're talking about over 1,020 years. But the very important time, as Andrejs said before, was during the Medici time, because the area of Carmignano, we are northwest of Florence, so in the north part of Tuscany. Because it was during the Medici time that the Medici, they were living in our area, in the area of Carmignano, in the summer. When it was getting too hot in Florence, they were actually moving. So this is the reason why in Carmignano there are many Medici villa, and we own two. One is Villa di Capezzana and the other one is Villa di Trefiano. And their property was actually surrounded by a wall called Barco Reale, which is the name of our young Carmignano. And which was a wall that was surrounding the property where the Medici family were going to hunt and where they were produce wines and olive oil. So it was like a kind of their wine. So, and it was a wine that even at that time could travel very well. That's why it was like a wine that they were giving to people, to the different court in Europe, because it was a wine they could travel. And so this is a very, then after the Medici, we got many different owners, and our family bought it in 1922 from the Franchetti Rothschild, and our great-grandparents, Alessandro and Vittoria, they were art collectors and art dealers, and they went to Spain and they lived there for a while, and then when they came back to Italy, they bought this Capezzana because they were looking for a kind of a chateau. They were looking for a place where wine could age well, so as soon as they saw Capezzana, they fall in love. They bought it, and they were art collectors, as you may know. They actually gave a beautiful collection to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, which is now is at the Uffizi Gallery, and also a beautiful house, which is the Congress Palace of Florence, which is called Villa Vittoria. So collecting the painting and ceramic and furniture and statues, they start to collect wine. So we are very proud and very happy to have actually bottles back, as Andrejs said, back to 1925. And even during the Second War, when Capezzana was occupied by the Germans, they were able to save the bottle. As you know, in many places around Europe, the Germans used to come and drink all the wine. So they knew that something was going to happen, that they could occupy Capezzana, so they moved all the older cellar into another cellar, and they plastered one wall in the cellar, so they were able to go back in business. And after our great-grandparents, our grandfather, Augusto Alessandro, got in charge. It was during the sharecropper. It was actually our father, Ugo, that was moving the winery from the sharing crop to the modern agriculture. And in the late 70s, our brother Vittorio, I'm talking about brothers and sisters. You have to understand that we were 7 children. So Filippo is number 7, I'm number 6, and this brother was number 3. And then we have a sister, the Benedetta, that she's been working with us, and she's a winemaker. And now we also have the 5th generation, as Andrejs said.
Okay, I see. Actually, I should to introduce you first because I thought I never met you in person, and I just met Filippo and several other members. But yes, your sister of Filippo, and your father is Conte Ugo Contini Bonacossi, who was a really true great person of your region. By the way, how much now the number of members of your large family? Do you know?
At the moment, we are three of us. Unfortunately, our brother Vittorio passed away, so we is now Filippo, myself, and Benedetta, the winemaker. And now we have the fifth generation. Vittorio's children, Serena, that you met, she's in charge of hospitality, and she does the back office for the shipping and the logistic side. And Gaddo, her brother, he took over his father's job and is in charge of the vineyards. And I'm sure Filippo, I'm in charge. I mean, that's probably the reason why you never met me, because I'm usually all around the world, traveling around and promoting. That's why I saw Steve in a different part around the world. And so I'm doing more sales, and so I'm traveling a lot. And Filippo, you know him, and maybe he can introduce himself and tell us what he does in Capezzana.
But as we know, the Medici family were the Grand Duke of Tuscany. But how your family became the owner of one of the oldest winery in Italy?
Because our great grandparents wanted to find a kind of a chateau, and they fall in love with Capezzana, and they bought it in 1922. Our great grandparents were really wine lovers, and while they were living in Spain, they were going once in a while in France, and so seeing the different chateaux. So when they decided to go back to live in Italy, they decided to buy a winery. They look a little bit like a chateau.
Yes. Next question. Could you tell us about the Carmignano DOCG as an appellation? Its main rules, grape variety that's approved, and made denomination. That's your wine.
So as I said before, Carmignano has been on like a kind of DOC since, you said, 1716, from the Bando, Grand Duke, from the Grand Duke Cosimo III. And but then during between the two wars, the Carmignano was incorporated into the bigger area of Chianti, and was actually our father that in 1975 asked to have the DOC back, which was given straight away because such the whole history, starting with the 69 vintage. And in 1990, he asked to have the DOCG, which was dated from the vintage 88. Today, Carmignano is the smallest DOCG in Tuscany, as you said. We are only 12 producer, actually only 11 in the consortio. And so, which is a nice part, being a small area, only, I guess, is only 220 hectares. So it's very, very, very tiny, very small.
And we are small, but we have right important page of history of the wine in Italy. Because Carmignano project born with Medici families, that was very important families in financial. He gave money at the most important family around Europe, also to the Pope have money from these big families. And you want to have a wine that was ambassador of Tuscany. At the time, at the end of the Renaissance, was very hard to move the wine from the origin place, because we don't have bottles. The best agronomy of the time tried to produce a wine to be able to ship. And he understand that to work around the structure of the wine. And so more alcohol, more polyphenols. So he experimented also some grapes that came from other countries. Try Tempranillo from Spain, Alicante from Spain, but it was with the grapes that came from France that we have was the best husband from Sangiovese. It's called Uva Francesca, and it was Cabernet Franc, and it was the Queen Caterina that was always rule of the France and was of the same Medici families that give these grapes. And Carmignano grapes was the first wine that was produced in Tuscany without white grapes, and so we be able to produce a very big wine with a big structure, good color, with a very elegance and with good very balance, and was the first wine that go around on the world. It's been the first wine that arrived in the USA during Jefferson president. A very important man that was Filippo Mazzei, that was in big contact with the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Leopoldo, going the USA like ambassador, introduced this wine. And all the people love this wine because it's very suitable to drink, it's big structure, easy to understand, and would be able to aging very, very, very long time.
But I want to make one note. It's really true what you said about Cabernet Franc, because time to time I see very mistake, let's say, that very important to clarify that in 16th century, Caterina brought the Cabernet Franc. Time to time, in some articles, we could see the name is Cabernet Sauvignon, but it's impossible because Cabernet Sauvignon was born in 17th century as a crossing of Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. So it's it's very often such a mistake about your region is appearing.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Okay, next question. Let's speak about your terroir because it's a main player that affects your wine, and especially as I told you in the beginning, that your wine has a really amazing aging potential. So, what is your terroir? Tell us in some details how it's helped your wine to be so long living.
Terroir was known from century and century. Like you introduced before, the grapes arrived from Etruscan times, 2,500 years ago. And is a little piece of Tuscany. We are located on the north side of Montalbano, and this hill that gently climbing down from the Montalbano through the plain of Florence have the more different exposition. Our soil born from the sea, and is a complex soil, is chaotic soil, and it was origin from undersea herd slave, and so it's not only different between vineyard, but also in the same vineyard we can find some part of the rock is Galestro, another part is Alberese. In some parts we can find some green clay, in other is yellow clay, and in some part we can find some bubbles. And from this fantastic biodiversity of our soil, bore this wine that is very different from other part of Tuscany. In front of us, there is the Apennino mountain, and that at the sunset create a fresh breeze that came from mountain, and so we have a big excursion between night and days, and this help a lot the grapes to have a very good concentration. And so is a little piece, and also is soil that is very rich of minerals, and so is very sapidity of a wine.
This is the reason we were allowed also to start organic farming in 2008. We only asked a certification a little bit later, so we only got the certification in 2015. And recently, in 2013, we start also to use our own yeast, which is something very important that you may talk a little bit about, Filippo, our natural yeast.
Yes, I would like to tell also some organic bio wine. The bio, it isn't only a process to respect some protocol of product that you can utilize. Is something more, is a philosophy. We want to save our soil for the next generation and want to create more complexity in the system vineyard. So the normal agriculture have a philosophy to take away, so and set aside. You kill the good insect and also the bad insect. You utilize chemical product that destroy the microorganism in the ground, and while with bio agriculture, we make more complex. We occupied the space of a vineyard, and this is very important because we have good insect, you have good microorganism that have take away the place of the moles of bad insect. So it's a philosophy that you can find also this complexity of a system vineyard. You find also in the glass. And cosa mi aveva chiesto, Beatrice?
The natural yeast.
Natural yeast, yes, of course. We want to utilize just our yeast. At the beginning of a season, of a season vintage, we make a cover of start with our yeast. We put to the university in Florence for to know that is good yeast, and this is very important because every cellar have particular yeast, and this give more typicity of at the wine. So my yeast is different of the cellar that is very near from here, because the yeast that are using during fermentation is not born on the grapes, but is survival in the cellar, and so we have a very good yeast, and we can have also in the last year that we have a big concentration of sugar. We finish all fermentation without sugar in the wine. So we are very happy. Don't utilize selection yeast because our yeast are very, very, very good.
Yes, it's a really great story whether you have a natural, really amazing terroir, but also people help to nature to express yourself. Actually, in this case, maybe you tell us about your 10 Annata project, because it's really as a result of your terroir and as a
So the idea of the 10 years was started in 2006. So we wanted to show to our customer the potential of aging of Villa di Capezzana Carmignano. So instead of keeping like 300-400 bottles for our private Riserva, we decided to start to keep 3,000 bottles and release this vintage 10 years after the vintage. So in 2016, which was also the anniversary of the 300 years of Carmignano, UCG, we released 2006. So every year we release a new vintage. And this year, for example, of course, we have 2011. And this wine comes in a really beautiful wood box, and the cover is a poster from the 1920s, some from the 1920s, some from the 1930s. And here again, our great-grandparents, they had some graphic designer, and so we've been changing every year for the first 6 years this poster. And is a project that has been doing very well, and I think it's been helping a lot to understand that Carmignano you can drink in young, but you can drink it also in after 10, 20, 30, 70 years as you've tasted.
Yes.
Yes, never too young and never too old. Are wine that you can wait a little bit, it give you great satisfaction. And we want that our customer have a possibility to taste a wine after 10 years that is the right moment to drink our Carmignano. And I want to tell you that this idea was a Beatrice idea. In my opinion, I'm more financial, and I was not so happy to aging so many bottles, take away and introduce on the market after very long time. But now we are very, very happy of this idea, and we are going to increase the number of a bottle to introduce because everybody like to have this wine.
And this is also, this project also help people, our clients, the restaurants, because they can start to have more than one vintage on the wine list. So this is something very important too. And so it's a project. The Villa di Capezzana, by the way, is 80% Sangiovese, 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. And just to go back a little bit of what Carmignano and the blend, for the low, there is a Sangiovese from 50 to 90%. And the Cabernet, that could be Cabernet Franc or Cabernet Sauvignon, is from 10 to 20%. So today, Carmignano is the only DOCG where we have to blend Cabernet with the Sangiovese. As you know, you're now allowed in Chianti to, but in Carmignano, it's really a must. And so this is very important. This is what makes Carmignano different from all the other wines in Tuscany.
Yes. You have actually one great big connection with Bulgari region, because as in Bulgari, as a Carmignano, 100% Sangiovese couldn't be DOC. So only Toscana EGT.
Exactly.
So my question, let's speak about your Sangiovese.
Okay.
I know you're one of your main wine is Ugo Contini Bonacossi, 100% of Sangiovese. But could you please explain us how this variety express yourself in Carmignano, and from the practical point of view, what's the difference between Sangiovese in your region and Sangiovese Chianti Classico, Brunello, Maremma?
Now, the Sangiovese, I think we have to remember what Filippo said about the terroir, about the climate. So this special climate make very, very elegant wine and long-lasting wine. And Sangiovese, we named this wine after our father, Ugo Contini Bonacossi. We start to make this wine, the first vintage in 2013. It's a very tiny little production. It's less than 5,000 bottles. Usually it's around 4,000 bottles. And we did not produce 14 vintage. And so at the moment we have a 13, 15, 16, and then the more vintage coming out on the market soon. And it's a wine that it's different. It's definitely different from the Sangiovese from Brunello, because the climate is different, because the soil is different, and so I think this is it comes from a very beautiful vineyard. Maybe Filippo, you want to say something about this Viticciana, that it was our father's favorite vineyard. So that's why we decided to make this wine out of this 5 hectares of Sangiovese vineyards.
Yes, there is two big families of Sangiovese. One with a big bunch that came from Romagna, and another that is more little that came from Lamole. All these Sangiovese was introduced in Tuscany 2,000 years ago. It seems that was a variety that came from Ciliegolo and another meridional Aglianico Rosa. And in our area there is more the Sangiovese of Lamole. We have also some our selection, our muscle selection, and so with the muscle selection is a families of, it isn't a clones, and it's very important because this selection have a memory of your story, of your microclimate, of your vintage, past vintage. The plant have a wonderful system to evolution, and we can switch on or switch off some part of genoma to adapt of a particular climate where we live. The animal can go away while the plant can moving, so have this fantastic evolution system. It's called phenotypo. And Viticana is a name that, in the name of the place, remember the vineyard. And when my father decided to plant in this area, there is a lot of lovely olives plant. I love olives, and was very sad to take away. So we cut more than 2,000 plants that we have replanted in other part of the farm. And a very good exposition. It goes from southeast and arrive to east exposition. All the vineyard are some road that interrupt the lines of the vineyard with and it take away the water to reduce soil erosion, and is a very, very beautiful place, and we are very great satisfaction because the place is fantastic, and now we know like this place was called Viticana. My father said that between olives and olives, in the past there was the vineyard, then the vineyard is died, they survive just the olives, but is one of the best exposition, one of the best vineyard that we have in Carmignano, in not only in Capezzana but in Carmignano, and give these very, very elegant wines with sweet tannin, complex tannin that is very drinkable. And we have at the moment just free vintage 2013. We jump 2014 that it isn't enough good vintage to produce our crew. And then we have 2015 and 2016, and we are going to jump maybe also 2070. And the wine is very concentrated, very beautiful perfume of violet of the noise, and very long in your mouth, very long in your palate, and I believe that is being the best system in memory of our father, that is being one of the important men in Italian viticulture. He received also in Vinitaly Can Grande awards that just one people every years can receive this important award. And I remember my father very, very happy. And so we want that this wine will be one of the greatest Sangiovese in Tuscany. This is our objective.
Our challenge.
Let's talk about your another great wine, great dessert, Vinsanto di Carmignano. Actually, the short story of our first meeting and how I found out you. It was in 2015 when I visit my friends in Florence, and I have a really short period for doing nothing. So I decided to visit any winery that very could be close to the city, to the Florence. And so I just opened Google Map and started to search. And Google Maps showed me Tenuta di Capezzana. And after short exploring, I found out that Io Vinsanto has a really crazy high scores and a lot of awards, and they call it one of the best dessert wines of Italy. But
yes, actually, we also got 3 times from the International Wine Challenge in London the best sweet wine of the world. So even last year, the 13, we got it in the 2011 vintage. And this is, I must say that we have to thank our sister Benedetta. She's really the queen of Vinsanto. And we always joke to her that she's our 4th child, because there is so much care behind this wine. You know, she goes in the vineyards when you do the harvest in the 2nd week of September, and we go with boxes. We only do 1 layer. We put some leaves under. And then we do 1 layer of grapes. And she doesn't want to put the box in the tractors because it's shaking too much. So we are using a van to bring the boxes back to the winery. Then we have a very, very big rooms where there are a lot of windows, and we build some castle made with the cane mats, and we dry the grapes. We put the grapes there, and she's there to check how they put the grapes. And we dry the grapes from September until December, January, sometimes even February or March. It depends when they dry. And during all this time, she actually goes to the room, like nowadays, 3 times a day to check the humidity and so if it's very if it's dry and the weather is now and windy, she will open all the windows. If it's getting a little bit humidity, she will close the windows and put the fans on. And sometimes even if it's really, really humid, she will also add the air conditioning. So we want to have the grapes drying perfectly. And so by the time we press the grapes, we put it in a Vinsantaia. We make it in a very, very traditional way, like the farmer used to make it. So our barrel don't stay in a cellar as many producers do, but we actually keep it under the roof as the farmer used to have in their attic. So we have these barrels that are mostly chestnut, around 50 liters. Some are a little bit bigger, 100 liters. And some of them are also a mixture of 4 different kinds of woods, as the farmer used to have. So there is chestnut, oak, maple, and cherry. We only fill 2/3, and we leave the wine under the roof. So there is this big, cold when we put the wines there. So the fermentation starts very slowly when the summer arrives, and sometimes we have a second fermentation the summer after. So it's a wine that doesn't really follow any winemaking regulation. And after 7 years, she starts to select the barrels that are going to be bottled. And we are allowed to put up to 15% older vintage inside. So the blend usually takes 2-3 months, Filippo, that we have every week. She comes with a new tasting to decide which one is a blend. And then, of course, we bottle is a small production. It's a huge room. So people think we make thousands and thousands of bottles, but at the end, we make around 5,000 of half bottles. And it's a Carmignano Riserva, and it's a DOC wine because, as you know, Carmignano has a DOC of Virruspo, which is a rosé wine that we make, a DOC of Barco Reale, which is like the young version of Carmignano, and the Vinsanto. So our Vinsanto is made mostly with Trebbiano, which I think Filippo will say a few things about this amazing Trebbiano that we have. It's not a normal Trebbiano, and a little bit of San Colombano.
And the small bottles probably call it Caratel.
Yes,
Right?
it's true.
Yes.
Yeah. And this area is very famous from very long time, from Vinsanto. In the travel diary of the Grand Duke of Tuscany, it's right that the best Vinsanto is done in Capezzana winery, and another winery that now don't produce more wine, that it was Poggio Banchieri, that is very near in Quarrata. I believe that our microclimate help a lot, Benedetta, to make a very, very good Vinsanto. And I like that also Pierpaolo, that is our young expert manager, told something, because he's a very, very brilliant people, and he can explain in my our pink Trebbiano. Pierpaolo, vuoi dire qualcosa te? Parli te qualcosa?
I think Filippo, you said most of it, but I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Pierpaolo Guerra. I am the export manager for Tenuta di Capezzana since 2009, actually. So it is almost 3 years that I've been working for Capezzana. I used to work in the hospitality business in London for 3 years. I was a senior head waiter and then a wine buyer. And then I decided to come back to Italy to study enology at the University of Florence. And I finally got a job at Capezzana. And since day one, I always felt like I'm part of the family. I think Beatrice and Filippo today explained very, very well what's Capezzana, and talked about our terroir and why we are so unique. And about Trebbiano, regarding the Trebbiano Rosa, it's a Marsale selection that the Contini Bonacossi has been doing for 4 generations, of a Trebbiano that has grappolo spargolo, we say in Italian, which means that the grapes are well divided one to each other. That helps very well the dehydration of the grapes throughout the dehydrating process. Pink, it's rosa, because during the maturation, the grapes they have these amazing shades of pink, starting from straw yellow, going even almost a reddish sort of color. I would recommend to come to visit Capezzana these days, because until February we have the grapes which are lining and dehydrating in our castles, in the cane mats, and it's something very special. I think Beatrice can explain a little bit more about our hospitality. We have an amazing wine bar and also a bed and breakfast. And thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, we have we've been doing wine tour, as Andrejs said, it's been there a few times for many, many years. And we started the agritourism more than 30 years ago, but just recently, 3 years ago, we restore, and we now have 9 bedrooms with a private bathroom, of course, air conditioning. And about 8 years ago, the 5th generation, which was my son and 2 brothers and 2 sons of Benedetta, they start this wine bar. it was the idea to make a place where young people could drink wine, but there is only wine, there is no any drink and or cocktails. And this has been very good because it's a place where we make very simple. The Tuscan cuisine is very simple. The most important ingredient is the olive oil, and we do produce olive oil, as Filippo said. Is the olive oil man. If Benedetta is a Vinsanto woman, she is definitely the olive oil person. We have 140 hectares, so it's quite a big production of olive oil that we make. And the cuisine of the wine bar is very simple. Try to use vegetable garden products as much as possible, or we just buy local things. Everything has to be from Tuscany and organic, of course, being organic. And we also have a cooking school, which has been on for over 30 years. Our mother, she was a very good cook. She actually got the cover of the Wine Spectator 30 years ago, and home cooking. And so we started like 35 years ago, the cooking school, and it's still on. So, we really hope that you can come and join us and have some experience at Capezzana.
Yes, it's a really great story. I'm really, really happy to meet you and now to speak you, because to see such a huge family that work together, and how generation by generation they develop the business, and how you are remember all your members by dedicated the names to your its name to your new wines. So it's really amazing. And by the way, speaking about your father, may I ask the probably last question? I think you both started to work at the winery when your great father, Count Ugo Contini Bonacossi, who is a really great person in Italian wine history. And at that time, he was the head of your family company. Over the question, what is the biggest lessons you learned from him?
There is a really nice sentence that he used to say, and which was tradition. It's not a statue, but it's a ship that goes forwards. So we have to always try to improve ourselves and to keep the tradition, but also moving. If there is new technique, new things, we have to go forwards. And then he was a very humble person. He was a very noble person, not because he was a count, but noble in his, inside. And so he was very, he wasn't the typical father, of many winery. He was always very open to work. That's why we were 4 children working for him, until a few years ago. And the grandchildren arrived to work with him because he was very open. He always listened to us. If we have new ideas, he was always open to new ideas. So we definitely learned a lot. And, he was also the guy that created the Ghiaia della Furba, that, it was the first Bordeaux blend made in 79 Tuscany. So he was a really like a nice person to work with. And so we are, we are very try to keep and go on as his suggestion. I don't know, Filippo, if you want to add something.
Yes, I try to explain English. And one very big lesson that he leave to everybody, to put a limit of your desire, and you live your present with happiness. You are to put a limit of the things that you like, that you want to buy, and I believe that this is a very good system to have a good life. And not you are to make to concentrate in your work, and it's better that your work, you love your work, and down everything with passion, with love. Don't watching your watch when you are working, and I believe that everybody that working in Capezzana have this big lesson, because in our job to do the right job in the right moment, you have a half cost and double the result. And I believe that he gave an example of life, and it was the respect of the other people. Everybody loves my father, and if you want to receive respect, you have to give respect, and also the respect of the land of your origin, and also to want to try to do every year something more, and you have to know that you never known enough. And in our job, he always told me we have very few experiences in your life. You have very good lucky. You can have 50 vintage. So you your eyes inside of your garden. Listen, the people that have more experience of you. Make treasure of the of the the life of the experience of the other people, and no, he's been a very great man. He's talking around quality when nobody other people's in Tuscany down here, and is for the best low production. Be careful of a particular, very clean in the cellar. We introduce one of the first people that introduced a Super Tuscan when this wine was table wines. He tried to aging also in barrique. Introduced barrique in our farm in 1975. So it was a very innovator. It's a good idea, a new idea. But like Beatrice told you, looking also from the way that you are calm, and so I believe that we have very good lucky to have a man like this father. We have very friendly, and also he was give everybody of his son some space in the winery. He respect. He gives some new idea, or but he give us responsibility when also was young, and
Filippo could go
Yes.
on and on,
Yes.
but I can see something. We are almost like
Italian.
No,
at
it's
the
anyhow, it's
end of
really
the.
great story. It's really nice to meet you. And so probably we need to finish our conversation, and that could be for next hour easily concluded. But now we should start to finish.
Andrea, we are
So
waiting for
thank you very much. Yes, I really want to come back to Tuscany, into Carmignano, into Capezzana.
We open some
Yes,
good
so
bottles together.
yes, ci vediamo a presto.
A
Bene, ti
presto, thank
aspettiamo,
you.
un abbraccio.
So thank you so much. Hold on one second. Hold on. Can you hear that? The applause. Thank you so much, Filippo and Beatrice and Pierpaolo. What a humble story of this iconic family from Carmignano, which is probably, if not the smallest DOCG, I'm not sure. It's such a tiny place that often we do forget. I know there are many challenges, but thank you so much. We learned a little bit more. And Andrei, thank you for bringing this story and the family to our community.
Thank you for opportunity.
Yes, and we will be sharing this on Italian Wine Podcast. We'll let you know when it goes live. And for the audience and everybody else, don't forget to come back next week, 6 p.m. Alessandra Boga will be the host ambassador, and Marco Caprai will be the winery. And then the week after that, we have Valeria Tennyson, who will be interviewing also Carolyn Walsh. Thank you so much, everybody. I have a few questions too, but didn't get a chance. Hopefully I can ask you these questions in person. I know you're very involved with the olive making, and you're heavily involved also with the communication. So Filippo, I hope to meet you one day as well. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And what a nice message from Filippo. Don't be so greedy. And that's a good
Happy
message
Thanksgiving to all of you. And
Okay, happy
thank
Thanksgiving. Ciao ragazzi.
Vivi, we're
Ciao.
waiting for you
Ciao.
anytime. Bye bye.
Okay.
Ciao.
A presto, Andrei.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.
Hi everybody! Italian Wine Podcast celebrates its 4th anniversary this year, and we all love the great content they put out every day. Cin Cin with Italian wine people has become a big part of our day, and the team in Verona needs to feel our love. Producing the show is not easy, folks. Herding all those hosts, getting the interviews, dropping the Clubhouse recordings, not to mention editing all the material. Let's give them a tangible fan hug with a contribution to all their costs. Head to ItalianWinePodcast.com and click donate to show your love.